Well, I think we're streaking through it then.
Yeah.
Is this scan?
Yeah, it scans. Yeah. Do the fancy high res scans. The other one does the job.
I just need documents.
Okay.
Hello, hello.
Hi. Okay. I need to mute one of you. One of me.
The two Serenas.
Yeah, the two of me. And how's my sound? Is it not? Ooh, it's not freaking out.
There's
Okay.
a tiny echo, but it's not bad at all. Oh, I love your art in the background.
Oh, thanks. I'm trying to figure out how to flip my camera around. I did it yesterday, and now I'm not doing it.
Hey guys, this is Becky. I'm this green box on the screen. I'm gonna have my video and audio off for the actual event, but I just wanted to check in with you, see if you need anything.
I can't figure out how to flip my screen now. It's like the option is not here now.
Uh-oh.
I could always just put my phone facing down. Let's see. Good thing we started a few minutes early, huh? Start video. Oh, my video is not started. That's why. And there we go.
I should turn my lamp on.
It won't get dark. Yeah, I feel like aesthetically I need like a plant behind me, so I don't have to go grab a plant. I turn that down all the way. Light over here. Okay. How's that camera angle? Does that look good?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's pretty good. Can it go any lower, or is that about as low as it'll go?
Yeah, I can take it lower for sure.
Your colored pencils are so beautiful. I like scrounged this like half full box of Crayolas that might be sharpened.
Well, it's a little bit funny because I don't do colored pencil a lot, but I just recently came into lots of colored pencils. So like before, a few weeks ago, I didn't have any. And now I have a ton. And so I was like, which ones am I gonna use?
I loved, you posted some pictures of a hike that you went on, and you took this really cool, like watercolor pad with you.
Yeah, I nerd about those pads that I can take places.
Those are awesome.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan. I can show you what they are if you want to know.
Yeah, maybe like through the course of the combo, that'll come up, because I think that that's such a cool tool.
Okay, ready? Now everything is started. There we go.
Staging.
Got a plant.
Between two plants.
Plants are like so necessary in here. I can't make things without them. Okay, that angle looks pretty good on
part
the
of the environment.
on my hands. Yeah, I've moved like studio areas several times in my house before I just took this room for myself. And each time like the plants would stay where they were. And then I'd be like, wait, I can't actually make anything.
Do you have
And
names
then,
for
and
them?
then I'd move my plants into wherever I had moved. I don't, except I have one cactus. It's gonna bloom, I think, today. It's my Goth Cactus. I love it. It's like very black and stabby, and then it has fantastic blooms, and it's hilarious.
That's awesome. What color are the blooms?
It looks like it's gonna be white. It's bloomed before, but it's a night bloomer, so I always miss it. And then like the next day, I'm all sad.
Oh,
This
it's
is my
just like Goth Cactus.
Yeah, it's like super stabby, and then it has this little on top. I love it so much.
That is a look for sure. Irene is, hi Irene.
It's hilarious.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Serena, Irene is our editor at This Is
Hello.
Hi, Serena, how are you?
Awesome. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
I just want to say before we get things like rolling, thank you so much, Serena, again for being part of this, and Irene and Becky for setting this all up and letting us.
Yeah, we're excited to have you, Serena. Thank you.
This way.
Yeah, thanks. It feels like exactly what I needed today.
Some human connection. Did you work outside today on your mural? I don't want to ask you too many questions because I want to like ask them in the when we're like going.
I will answer things 2 times.
Tell me the most like benign thing that happened today.
Yeah, no, I didn't today. I took my doggo to the vet today, and she had to be there like so early. And so I was like, children, wake up, let's go.
Oh, is your dog okay? Or like, is it just a routine?
Yeah, she had a couple tumors taken off.
Oh no.
Right now she's like totally out of it. Pathetic. The girls are like, she looks so sad.
Oh, just like lounging.
Veronica, you're real quiet. I don't know.
Oh, it might be my headphones. Can you hear me?
Maybe. It was better when you held it up.
Hello. I could also...
Don't do that. That's weird.
She's fine, Michael.
Oh my gosh, there's a bird on your door.
Is this...
So I have pets and I regret them sometimes.
Yeah. We also have a lot of pets that we...
Oh, I can't hear anything now.
Yeah, like I have days where I'm like, why is this the life I choose for myself?
Mm-hmm.
The bird was like a childhood dream.
And there was a reason your parents were like, no.
Hold on.
Yeah, so like apparently my dad had a bird and he was like, shortly after he met my mom, the bird had to go.
Yeah.
Like, kid, we were always like, let's get a bird. And now I have a bird and I'm like, oh, she really is messy. Like they weren't lying.
Yeah. They weren't just trying to like ruin your life. They were serious. Yeah. I have that realization a lot as a parent.
So we were
like,
laughing.
oh.
Yeah. And you're like, well, so my kids, like, they're probably never going to get birds as they grow up because they're
Right,
like, I
they
had a
know.
bird and it was horrible. And like, yeah, like I always wanted a big dog. And my parents were like, big dogs make big poops. And now I have these big dogs and I have to rake their poop. They poop so much.
Yeah. They were not
like all
wrong.
of these like lessons. I'm getting them all. Where's Tan?
Okay.
True story.
Totally. Can we make her hand video bigger? Like, can we make that the main video or the main
I have that one muted, so it probably isn't popping up if you don't have it on gallery view, but I can swap them.
Oh, right, because it wouldn't work on speaker.
This is Becky. I selected pin video, so I'm hoping now that everyone will be able to see that as the biggest video. Is that working for you, Irene?
No, I see yours as you're talking.
Okay.
I think each person might have to pin it if they
I
want.
have you guys gallery view because I want to see everybody.
Yeah, I know, I do too, but I kind of want to see what you're doing. I guess we could tell them that, Veronica, that they can like click on her hand view if they want to and hit pin video, and then it'll show just that.
I haven't decided which one I'm going to color either. Maybe I should choose. I just printed them all. I think I'm going to do this one.
Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh my gosh. I was on Zoom on a different computer and then it just like stopped working. So had to switch computers and now we're back. Hi. I think, how's everyone doing? Do we have, hi, are we all in? Do we have anybody in the waiting room? Yes, no, maybe. We'll see. Well, hi everyone. It is so nice to see so many faces that are different from the usual 4 that I see consistently in my house. So I am very grateful to see you all here today. We are so excited. I'm Veronica, by the way, and I'm one of the writers for This is Tucson. And so we are just so excited to see so many people here at our first member meetup. As you know, we launched this membership program in March, kind of around the same time that things got a little weird in our world. And being able to bring people together and have different experiences at different places or with different people in the community was always part of what we envisioned for the membership program. And we realized that that wouldn't be possible really anytime soon. So this is sort of a nice way to continue to do that, but to be able to do that safely from the comfort of our homes. So thanks for making the time to join us today. We are especially grateful to Serena McRae, who is our guest artist that's joining us today, that has graciously agreed to share some of her expertise with us and share a bit more about her, her journey as an artist and her work. So thank you so, so much, Serena. Yay, hand waves. Before we get started, just some logistics. Largely, we will let Serena share with us her tips and tricks. I'll ask her some questions as we kind of move through the process, but we also want this to be interactive, so we want you to also be able to ask questions. If you think of a question based on something that Serena shares or something that you want to know more about, please feel free to just send a chat and let us know that you have a question. If you don't want to speak, you can send your question in the chat and I will ask it on your behalf. If you do want to speak, we do want to hear different voices today, just let us know you have a question and we'll unmute you so that you can ask that as well. I just also want to point out that there are some other This is Tucson staff members on the call also. It's mostly all of us. We have one colleague that's not with us today, but we have our fearless editor, Irene McKisson, Johanna Willett, and then the infamous Andy Berlin are also on the call with us today. So, hello. Well, does everyone have their coloring sheets or pencils, printouts? Oh my gosh, I see them. So excited. Awesome. Well, I'm going to turn it over to Serena, who is a Tucson native. Yay. She creates art under the name Cactus Clouds Art. If you're not following her on Instagram or Facebook, you should be. She's got some beautiful projects that she's been working on, which she'll share a bit later. And she's most well known for her watercolor art that really just reflects the flora and fauna of the desert and the things that we all love about living here. So Serena, I'm going to turn it over to you if you'd like to share a bit more about yourself and kind of jump right into our mini color theory lesson for today.
Perfect. I love it. Hi, everybody. Check out Carrie's shirt. She's repping. She's got the dinosaur shirt on. Hi, I'm Serena. I've been in Tucson forever. I grew up on the south side in the Tucson mountains. And so I was like tucked off kind of in the hills, and I had lots of desert to explore. And we spent most of our time out there and catching, you know, lizards and, you know, what kids do. And I was always out walking my dog and everything. So I have a lot of love for the desert. Things like, you know, if you find like a Gila monster, it's like, the gods have blessed me. Like, it's like the best thing that could possibly happen. And those are the kinds of things that you just fall in love with, you know, as you grow up in the desert. It's so different than other places. I started watercoloring a couple of years ago, I think in 2017, when I bought my house. And that was exciting because I had never, like, my family is very artistic, and I had never really had something that I really understood or felt easy to me. And I always felt like I have this dream of being an artist, but I'm not actually good at stuff. And when I tried watercolor for the first time, it was like, that's what I was waiting to find. Like, I had this moment like, what on earth? This is what I've been waiting for my whole life. And I just, from day one, I just really understood it. And I didn't get like frustrated, and it was easy not to measure myself against other people in the medium because it's so fluid. And so yeah, that's kind of how I started with that. Is there anything else you guys want to know right off the bat? Yes, no? Mm-hmm.
Carrie says that you are the best, Serena. So shout out.
Very nice.
Some extra love from Carrie.
I appreciate Carrie at a great level also. Okay, so I'll start you guys off with a little color theory lesson, and then once we get started with that and you make your really big life decisions about how you're going to color these pictures, then we can talk about some more stuff. So the thing that I want to talk to you guys about in color theory, which I've always kind of been like, oh, color theory, you just pick the colors, right? Like, I always thought it was really boring. And obviously with experience, I've learned things. And so the thing that I want to talk to you about is the difference between like planning a palette and intuitive coloring. So in the art world, I do lots of intuitive painting, and intuitive painting is one of my favorite workshops to teach because it's just very much about like choosing from your heart and choosing in the moment and just letting everything else go, and like letting the art just become without planning too much. And it's very likely in intuitive coloring or intuitive art that by the end you're like, oh frick, what did I do? Like, it's awful now. But it's more about the experience of actually just letting go and creating and letting whatever wants to come out of you come out of you. So the reason that I picked this for coloring is because when it comes to coloring, of choosing my never planned out coloring sheets because they're not like they don't feel consequential, you know, it's just a coloring sheet and there's some more coloring sheets and you can print out another one and you can do it again, right? And so I've always been very free with coloring sheets. So when it comes to coloring, I've always been very intuitive, and I just, you know, I want that color, I want this color, and I just pick them, right? I don't really think about it. And by the time that I'm done, I generally have the full color spectrum on my page. The other choice, which I kind of learned this lesson from my kiddo, she is 7, and one of the first weeks that we started homeschool, she I printed out some coloring sheets from Why I Love Where I Live from the Tucson type, and I printed out some of her cactus pictures for the girls to color in between doing their schoolwork books. And my daughter could only find like 4 colored pencils because her room was dirty and her art stuff was like who knows where. And so she colored this cactus picture with a very limited palette, and it was so beautiful. And I was like a coloring page could really be beautiful. And it was just happenstance that the colors that she could find went together so well. But it was kind of a cool moment of like understanding, like if you limit your colors and you're very choosy, that it feels limiting, but in the end, it makes a very cohesive picture. And the same thing applies in art. And so I'm like, generally when I do my art, I'm very well known for like my full color, full rainbow pieces. And I'm working on a piece right now where I very much narrowed down the color palette, and it's different than my usual color palette. I did that to challenge myself, and it's coming out really amazing. And so it can feel boring to make the choice to only work with 4 or 5 colors, but it's actually really cool. And so I printed out these little guys. This is from, if you're ever coloring and you want like an inspiration, I'll zoom these in so you can see them in a second. There's a website called Design something, and I just forgot it as soon as I have it up on my computer though, so I can tell you. And if you search for, sorry guys, totally brain farted the name here. Design Seeds. So it's design with like a hash and seeds. And it's a really cool website where they take pictures and then they choose a limited color palette out of the picture. And so I used this website like ages ago when I was in art school and when I was like designing my house or something, my kid's bedroom or whatever. And so they take a picture and then it gives you like a little limited color palette. So this is a really cool way to come up with color inspirations. Of course, there's like a little cute cactus one, right? And so that's a really cool website if you're like feeling like you want to challenge yourself, but you don't exactly know where to start. So now you guys, we're gonna get coloring, and you can decide if you want to go with a limited color palette and what those colors are gonna be, or if you're just gonna be an intuitive colorer and just do whatever you want and whatever feels good. And I think I'm gonna do a little, I don't know how I'm feeling. How are you guys feeling?
Are you going to do a limited color? Are you feeling intuitive coloring today?
I think I'm going to do limited. I think it sounds fun. And I like this little Southwest one. Actually, a lot of these with like these greens have like a little pop of pink and peach and stuff. So I feel like that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to get out. Also, another note. When I do a limited color palette, like if I pick a pink, I allow myself the whole spectrum of pink. I mean, with colored pencils, it's usually like you have 2, right? That way you can do like shading in that color. So, because that's what happens when you watercolor, like you start with your limited color palette, but then you blend, right? And you can create more colors that way. So I feel like I want this cool like ochre color. And I'm kind of intuitively choosing my limited color palette.
The pink and green palette is a very This Is Tucson color palette.
Okay, so this is my choices right here. So I have like a yellow ochre, a mint, 2 pinks, a blue, and a green. And that's what I'm gonna work with. And I might, if I have a moment of feeling like I need a little something there, then I might grab something else. In fact, I feel like I need to grab this dark blue. Sometimes you just gotta do it. Also, these pencils that I'm gonna color with are watercolor pencils. And so if I wanted to, when I am done, I could wet the page very, very softly because it's just a GB little computer page. And it'll blend the colors together. So watercolor pencils are really cool. I just did a video about them on my Instagram, and a lot of people didn't even know that they were a thing. But they're super fun because you can like do lots of blending and stuff with them. And these ones are from the brand Color Block, and they actually sent them to me for free because they're nice. And I made them a video. Okay, so there's my colors. And I guess we're ready to start coloring. Yeah?
Yeah, looks like everyone's diving right in.
I like it. And I always put my colors in order. It feels important to do that.
When you're
I'm curious about.
Go ahead,
Huh?
Serena.
Oh,
Go ahead.
I'm curious about what page everybody chose.
T-Rex.
Rex.
I printed 2 because I couldn't decide. But really, I am so like uncreative that I need like color by number to like guide me.
So like the things that can make coloring like this are really, really fun. And since I put some of these sheets on the Why I Love Where I Live coloring page thing, and it's been fun seeing how people color each picture differently. But one of the things that people consistently do is like this flower where it has like the back and the front of the petal, you can see both sides. Everybody paints them or colors them different shades. And so I like seeing that people respond to that, like, oh, we have a little like 3D action here. And so they dive in and make it 2 colors.
Awesome. We had some questions earlier before we got started, Serena, about the inspiration behind the T-Rex design and whether that was
yeah, so the T-Rex was actually I did, I'm not doing any right now, but I do commissions for like logos for small businesses. And the T-Rex was a commission that I did. And it came out so darn cute that I was like, do you mind if I just play with this little guy and do something else with him? And so the woman that commissioned it, she actually has a tattoo with a dinosaur in a similar situation, and it's like in a circle, and then it has around it the quote, "Woman inherits the earth." And so when I made the thing for her, she wanted me to make it very Southwest, and so I added the cacti and stuff. And so then when I took the design over and designed the t-shirt, I did "The Woman Inherits the Desert," which I thought was a fun twist on it, and it makes me very happy.
We're all big fans of it. We're all big like dinosaur Jurassic Park fans. So the dinosaur like spoke to us.
Yeah, I'm the same way. That's why when I got the commission, I was like, oh my goodness, this is so fun. And it was such a fun one to paint too.
When you're creating art, Serena, whether it's a coloring sheet like this or a mural that you're working on in your backyard, what's sort of your process? What kinds of things do you like to have around you, or how do you kind of get into the mood to start creating?
I generally start with like having like a hissy fit. Like life is like, and I'm like, everybody leave me alone. I go in my studio. No, I don't know. I try to create something every day. And it was kind of just a goal that I gave myself at some point. Like it's just habit now. And so like generally I do like lots of flowers and things, right? And that's mostly because flowers are a really fun like brush stroke practice, because you can draw out flowers like this, but in watercolor it's very much like how you're working your brush. Like you can create a flower in like 5 brush strokes, right? And so that's kind of my go-to, is doing florals and botanicals and stuff, because I had made the goal at some point to like obviously become a better artist, right? And so I decided that I needed to practice every single day. And so I would just sit down and I would just start painting leaves. And I've actually found over time that I've gotten a lot of like better control in my hand. And so now I can do more detailed work and different things. But flowers and botanicals are kind of my go-to for that reason, that I gave myself the goal to create a habit to create every single day. And so that became my go-to, just to like, I think the goal I actually wrote for myself was get my brush wet every single day. And so some days, like I would just sit down and be like, boop, 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 made a flower and I'm done. And now I have to go mom, right? But so yeah, that's kind of where there's like an obsessiveness over the florals, is it's just, that's the practice that I use to get that habit in, to kind of honor my artwork and let it be something that's important, that has dedicated time every single day. And then when it comes to the process, like I kind of mesh my like digital work with the watercolor, and I go back and forth a lot. Like I might paint something and then I scan it in and then I'll do some digital art on top of it, or I'll draw something and then like trace it onto watercolor paper. Like I'll draw it on my iPad, like these guys I drew on my iPad, and then I'll like trace the outline or whatever onto watercolor paper and then I'll watercolor it. So I kind of like go back and forth between the two a lot. The big mural piece that I did, that I'm doing, that design was funny because it came out of a conversation with, I had a little art show at Belle Star Salon right before everything canceled out, and like everything was canceled. And so it was like one of the last things, and it wasn't a big get together, but I had a handful of people that came who had all traveled here together for a job for their college from like Michigan or somewhere. And so all these people came, there was like 5 of them, and they were all young and new to the city and were like desperate for friends. And we got to talking about how they would like get lost all the time and how weird Tucson is because it's on a grid, and how they're used to being surrounded by trees, and so being able to see everything is wild. And one of them asked me, well, I said something like, well, in Tucson, all you need to know is the mountain ranges, and then you know where you are, and you know which direction you're going. And I rattled off, you know, the different mountain ranges around, you know, the Tucson basin, and they were like, what? Will you make us a compass? With like the mountains on it? And I was like, what a great idea. And so I told them, I was like, yes, I will make you a compass. And like just a couple days, I made the compass and I posted on Instagram and I tagged them and I was like, look guys, I made you the compass. And it's been probably one of my most popular digital prints that I've done. And I just love it so much. And my husband, he has like a big obsession with the mountains and things. And so I started painting it on my backyard and I'm excited to finish it. It's been really fun to do. I've never done a mural before or anything on a large scale like that. So it's kind of a new thing that I'm enjoying.
It's looking good. I've been paying attention to the progress pictures that you've been posting on your social media. What other things have you been working on during this time, Serena? Kind of this, I know you're home with your kids.
Yeah, it's been interesting because this, like right as everything in the world got canceled, I had a big launch coming up for a product that I've been working on for 2 years. And it's a deck of cards called Affirmations Moms Actually Need. And it's a deck of cards and there's 52 original watercolor paintings with affirmations handwritten or hand lettered over top. And so that's been like my pet project for 2 years. And right as everything was canceled was right as I had the like big machine that I had been running for all this time. It was like reaching the top of the peak, and I had my launch party and I had the launch for the Kickstarter, and I had a whole gallery show, a solo gallery exhibition planned, and all of it got canceled. And so that was kind of intense. And I was like, everybody at the time was saying, we're heartbroken, but we have to cancel this. We're heartbroken, but we have to cancel that. And everyone had canceled plans. And I was like, if somebody says they're heartbroken one more time, like we're all sad, okay? Like I was really, really cranky about it. But at the same time, I was like, I was gonna do this Kickstarter launch, which if you're not familiar with Kickstarter, it's like a crowdfunding campaign website to bring a project to life. And so I was like, there's no reason why I can't just take this all digital. Like I have an Instagram following, I have like a pretty good social media presence. And so I've kind of have spent this time in quarantine, switching all of my in-person local plans and local marketing to online, and working on getting that out in the world and successful. And so it's kind of been actually kind of a weird time creatively, because it was like the end of a big project as I've gone into quarantine. So now I've just kind of been like, well, I guess I'll just color whatever I want and draw whatever I want, because I'm not taking commissions right now. And I had this big plan that I'm not doing now. And so it's been kind of interesting, and it's been kind of freeing. And I've been working on some pieces that are very different than what I usually do. And so yeah, it's been kind of interesting being in quarantine and having all those things turned on their head.
But your Kickstarter got fully funded, right? Did you mention that? It is.
It was fully funded in less than 6 hours.
In less than 6 hours?
In less than 36.
Oh, 36.
Yeah, so I launched it on a Friday, and by that Sunday, like morning or whatever, it was fully funded. So it was a really exciting weekend, you can imagine.
That's so huge.
But
congratulations.
Thank you very much. I had extended the Kickstarter. I was originally going to do it 30 days. And because I didn't feel like, I had this like beautifully oiled, designed marketing machine leading into it. And then everything went up, and I was like, my beautiful plan. And I was able to, I was pretty quick on my feet, and it was able to be a success. And anyway, fantastic, funded in just a couple days. And I had like my internet warriors. And the thing that was kind of cool about it was that people were home in quarantine, and where I thought it wasn't going to do well because of that, it gave everybody a purpose for that weekend. And so many people that were like, oh, my life is boring and weird and miserable right now, like they jumped on and they were like, let's do this. And they were like emailing their friends. And like I had all these internet warriors who were all bored in quarantine and got me where I wanted to be a lot faster than I expected to be there. So it was pretty interesting. It was like a social experiment.
Yeah, that's amazing. I feel like moms need affirmations the most at this time. Like,
Yeah.
So it seems like the timing was like really appropriate for that. We have some questions about technique and tools. So Cheryl asks, how do you draw on an iPad? Is there like a particular program that you use or tools that you use?
Yeah, so to draw on an iPad, you need an iPad Pro because it has like the touch screen. And then you need an iPad pencil, which they have like Apple pencils, but there's also a bunch of artist digital pencils out there that are compatible with iPads also. And I kind of have a funny thoughts on this because I shared my tip of sketching on the iPad first and then taking it onto the paper on the internet, on Instagram, and I got tons of negative feedback of people just complaining that iPads are expensive. And so it was a little bit funny for me because my family has been, we're no longer, which is fantastic, but most of our married life, we've been at poverty level or below. And we just got married very young, and I think I was dealing with mental illness way before I realized that I was. And so with various things, I didn't work, we had the kids young, and so we had just always been very, very low income. But when it came to the things that I felt like were important, that I needed to do the things that I wanted to do, I always found a way to get what I needed. And the iPad was one of those things. So I saved up and I got one that was refurbished. So it was a fraction of the cost. And it's wonky, like I have to keep it plugged in most of the time, but it does the job. And so yeah, the iPad Pro is what I use. And I use a program called Procreate to do my sketching. I know that like I don't have tons of experience with digital art, and Procreate can do incredible things, and I'm barely scraping the surface. And so I feel a little bit insecure about the things that people can do on that program that I haven't learned how to do yet. But you know, if I decide to get into digital art, then I'll do the tutorials and I'll learn the things. And for now, I prefer brush and paper, and the iPad is just like a supplement that has just kind of organically become part of my process. And so if I'd ever decide to get super into digital art, I know that I'll be able to learn those things. So I don't, stress myself out over that or anything. But yeah, that's and then when I transfer things over, I have a scanner, a Canon Pixma scanner that does really high resolution scans. So when I scan in a piece of artwork, I have the option to scan it in big enough that I could print it on a billboard, and it'll be clear. And so with those two things, I can pretty much do anything that I want to for now.
So you need to go bigger. That's really cool. Irene wants to know if you have tips for how to make coloring look fancier, like shading. I think you're shading right now.
That's exactly what I'm doing right now. Let me see. If I bring my camera a little bit closer to the table, I'll block off my face a little bit, but I think everything will be okay and we'll all survive. So right now on this little leaf, let me see if I can find another leaf and I can show you what I did. So on this guy, I left a white space on both sides, which would be like a highlight, like a light shimmer. So I colored the edge with a light green and that edge with the light green, and then from the middle, I colored and I moved it out, and I kind of left this white highlight in the shape that the leaf would have it. So I'll find another one and I'll do it again. So I started with the light green, and let's see, I have one right here. So I started in the middle, and I always like instinctively, even when I was a kid and I colored, I always kind of start at the edges and work my way in. My kids color like straight lines across the whole thing and it freaks me out. So I'm like working my way out from the center and then in from the outer edge, and kind of let your pencil get softer as you get closer to that highlight so you don't have like hard lines. And then I leave a white space, which is very much like a watercolor technique, because watercolor is very opposite from other mediums where you have to leave yourself a white space if you want any highlight at all. And then I got a blue, and I went to the very edges, which would be like the furthest away from that highlight, and then in the middle. And I'm adding that blue just to kind of darken that area. So I have like dark blue and then light green and then that white highlight and then light green, and then at the very edge I have that dark blue again. So then I have like a little shiny leaf. I'm gonna darken the middle of that. I might even get my darkest blue and like really darken up the center, like just the very, very center, and then the very, very edges with that darkest blue to make that white highlight really pop. There.
That is amazing.
Thank you.
These are things that I can't do with my color by number sheets, so I am impressed. Carrie has a go ahead.
With this little flower, I did the same kind of thing, but I made like the petals that were closest to the inside of the flower, I made it darker, and then I shaded it outward, so more color here and then less color at the edge. And then if you wanted to take it even further, like I got these 2 shades of pink, so I did that with my light pink. If you want to go even further, you could get a dark pink and just darken up those inside edges, or like anything that looks like it's tucked under another petal where there would be a natural shadow. So in watercolor, I'm very big on like using multiple colors on one object, because like we kind of think about color as like light and dark, but in the world there's a lot more going on. Like this side of my face right now with this highlight is very like pink and red, but then this shadow on the side of my face, if I was painting it, I would paint it with blue or purple, which are, you know, opposites on being hot and being cold, right? So when we're choosing our colors, you know, you could do your bright pink on the outside, and then you could get a little blue and like shade it in and make like a little cool shadow.
Awesome. Carrie has another question about technique here. She asks, what do you suggest for a big open sky? She says she never knows what to do with it and always ends up just leaving it or just coloring it.
That's really, really funny because I never color the background. And Carrie, did I talk about this in the class that you came to? So this is something I talk about in my workshops a lot, is that negative space is like very precious to me. And so like, if I pull out any given piece of artwork in my thing here, we'll see. Just trying to find something random here. Any piece of artwork that I pull out has white around the whole thing, because I get super weird about covering the entire page. And some people at my classes, like they'll do their painting and then they'll paint from edge to edge and fill it in. But for me, that's just like physically difficult. Like, it's like on a spiritual level, I cannot fill in the backgrounds with things. And in fact, I challenged myself a while ago to start painting edge to edge and paint the full entire paper, and I failed. I couldn't do it. I absolutely could not fill it all in. So Carrie, you're on your own. However,
anything goes.
If it didn't make me cringe to like color from edge to edge, I almost always go like for ombre things, like a nice little fade across colors like this. Like that right there, where it's like, yeah. So if I ever fill in a whole page, I generally do something like that. And I think it's because it's like sunsetty to like fill in with a gradient. But yeah, that's like a personal struggle of mine.
Well, your style, it works. I mean, it's part of your signature style.
It very much, and it's like a neuroses problem.
Let's see. If anyone else has any other questions, we have a little over 15 minutes left, so I want to make sure that we get to those. Again, you can send them in the chat, or if you want to ask them yourself, just let us know and we will unmute you. Carrie also has an observation, which is for everyone. I don't know if everyone read the chat, but she says that as a group, we all have fabulous hair. And I had to like put the full gallery on, and I have to agree, like, great observation, Carrie.
When everyone was signing on earlier, I was noticing how many beautiful curly hairs there are, and I was feeling a little jealous.
I'm just like, I never see that many women with curly hair like all in one place. So I'm feeling very connected to you all right now.
That's so fantastic.
Serena, I'm curious about just how you chose watercolors as your medium, and why that particular form really speaks to you.
Yeah, so the reason why I started watercoloring in the first place is like, I don't know, it's kind of a big part of my story, I guess. Mm-hmm. I had, so long story very short, we married very young, and I was a hot mess and I couldn't hold a job, right? And like I said earlier, I'm pretty sure I was dealing with mental illness at a lot earlier in life than I had recognized. And so when I look back at that period of my life, I was like, oh, I needed a therapist. Like that's what needed to happen. But I had no idea, and I was young and I was newly married, right? And so I was like, everything's crazy. I can't hold a job. Like, let's just have a baby. And then maybe when I figure my life out, I can go back to school or whatever. And so we decided to start trying to have a baby. And a year went by, and everybody around me was getting pregnant except for me, and the world was horrible and unfair. And so I in my like angst against the universe was like, I'm just gonna go back to school, and this time I'm gonna do what I want. And so I had gotten my associate's degree in English, and I had this big plan to become a professor and teach. And then when I was in my like anger against the universe, I signed up for art school, and which was great because the house I was living in at the time was like 2 seconds from the campus, and so it worked out really well. And so I started, and I had never taken like a formal quality art class before. And I signed like full schedule. I did all the beginning art classes, I did photography, I did lighting, and I had a full schedule, like as packed as it could be, of all this art stuff. And very quickly, I became like the star of the classes. And it was so exciting for me because I had never really studied art before. And I was really like reaching this point that was pretty awesome. And I won a scholarship from my portfolio to have my next semester of classes paid for. So that was really cool. And I had all of my art on display. And then I got pregnant. And so I was like, the dream is happening. And then the dream had changed, right? I'd given up on the other dream, and then I got pregnant. And by the end of my last semester, I wasn't able to finish some of my final pieces and stuff because I got so sick. And then I got the scholarship, and so I was like, I will continue, like, I will persevere. And then I wrecked my car into a ditch because I had to throw up on my way to school. And that was when I realized, like, the universe has a sick sense of humor, number one. Number two, I can't do both of the dreams now. And so then I stopped going to school. I lost my scholarship, and I had a closet full of art supplies that I didn't get to use, and I didn't get to fulfill that dream. And so then as my kids were growing up, we obviously they needed their closet because they had things and they had clothes and whatever else. You know how it goes. And so then I had all this art supplies in their closet. And so I sold everything. And just to a friend, I was like, $30, come and take all this stuff away. And it was like, she picked up my dream and like took it away.
Oh my
and
gosh.
and yeah, like it was like kind of crazy. And like I had all the professional paper and the beautiful things. And at that point I was facing postpartum depression very intensely. And I didn't know what to expect. Things were not as I had hoped that they would be once I had a baby. Like my pregnancy was really bad, and I spent the pregnancy saying, once I have the baby, everything will be better. And then everything was almost worse once I had the baby. And so I was kind of living this really strange experience that was not what I had expected it to be. And then, you know, life went on, I sold the art stuff. And then one day I felt well enough and good enough that I went to Michael's, and I wanted to get some art supplies and start creating while the kids were napping. And I had both my girls very close. They're 6 and 7. So they're really, really close babies. And so I went to Michael's, and I was like, I just want something that's real small, that won't take tons of supplies, and won't, like, my kids won't get into it and poison themselves or choke on things. And so it was very much like a motherhood driven choice, right? And I was like, well, I've never tried watercolor before. I think I'll just grab this little set that's like the cheapest set of watercolors ever, like these little things that they use for like kids, right? And it was like $8, and I used my coupon.
And 50% off Michael's coupon?
Huh?
The 50% off Michael's coupon?
Absolutely. Yeah, so I used my coupon, and I got that little set of watercolors, and I got a little set of brushes, and I didn't really know what I was doing, but I was just like, I'll just paint a tree. And then my kid would wake up from nap, and then the next day, like, you know, I'll just add a swing to this tree I painted yesterday. And so it was like this very short, like, and my kids were horrible nappers, like they hardly ever napped. But anyways, it became this little escape, I guess, while they were napping. Before I would make myself a smoothie, and then I would sit down and just paint for a few minutes. And then with watercolor, you have to wait for the paint to dry, right? Otherwise it will bleed into each other. And so then the kids would wake up, and then maybe if they took another nap later or rested or whatever, then I'd pull it out again. And and I didn't paint very much at that point. I just did it a little bit, like I just dabbled a little. And so then when we bought our house, I was starting to feel better. And I was kind of at that point getting out of my depression, and things were progressing, and the kids were older. And at that point, like, I dove all in, and I bought myself an art desk, and I put it in the corner of my bedroom. And I was like, I will get more things and learn stuff. And that's when I really dove in. So I kind of bought the supplies like a few years ago, and then a few years went by where I would just like every now and then pull out my little teeny tiny mom has a hobby, see, you know, my watercolor set occasionally, and not very often, and not very dedicated. And like then my kids would be like, I paint, Mom. And so then they would like get their brush and trash it, and it wasn't horrible because I spent like $5 on it. And so that's where it started. But at that point, like, I had painted a jellyfish, which is still like one of my top selling prints in my little threadless shop. And everyone was like, wow, that's amazing. And I was like, I was just doodling during nap time. And so it was kind of a surprise, but it was very much like, my life is insane and I have these 2 babies and I'm majorly depressed and I need something for the moments that I feel like a human. Like at the time, I couldn't even read a book because I was just so disconnected up here that I couldn't, you know, read for a couple minutes and then come back to it later. And so it was something that was like very quick and easy and didn't take up any space and didn't require a closet full of supplies. And so that's kind of what brought me to watercolor in the first place, was just that needing something that wasn't like a huge commitment, I guess. Is that funny?
Yeah, that's awesome. When you first started art school, because your journey to get here has been a really unique one, an interesting one, as we've heard. When you first started art school, like, what was your intention at the time?
To like, my intention was to like live the dream that the universe wouldn't let me have. And like, I had always had this like aspiring dream as a kid, like to grow up and be an artist. But then as an adult, I was very much in the vein of like, I have to do things that are practical and I can't waste money on art classes. Like with art, you're either good at it, you don't need classes, or you're not, right? And my family was very like academics heavy. And so they probably would have supported me if I wanted to go to art school, but I never asked because it was in my nature to do the smart thing that would get me a paying job, right? And so that wasn't really a thing, but it was very much like a very angsty, I'm angry at the universe, so there kind of a decision. Yeah. For me. And anyways, it was a great 1 semester experience. And then it was over.
But you still got here, you know, in a roundabout way.
I met one of my best friends that semester, so we'll take that.
There you go. That's a win. We have this problem in the This is Tucson office. At least I very much have this problem, and I think Johanna will agree with me. But whenever we go out and we write a story, or we meet someone new, or we learn about what they do, we come back and we're like, I want to do that thing. Like, that's the thing for me. So as I'm hearing you, I'm like, maybe I am an artist. Maybe I just like didn't know.
Yeah, I totally feel that way. When I last fall, I kind of like debuted myself into the Tucson art community, and I did all the markets and I met lots of people and stuff. And it was very much that way. Like whenever you meet somebody who has this new fresh idea that they've come up with and they've like honed it and perfected it, you're like, whoa, that's so cool. I want to do that. But diving into the Tucson art community so much that you can't. And so it's like kind of like a put on the brakes, like let Joanna be the ceramics master. I don't need to touch it. It is okay.
All right, we have a few more minutes. Does everyone want to share their progress and what they've made so far? Wow, all right, okay. Oh my gosh. These are amazing. Everyone is so incredibly talented. Wow. I got nowhere, but this isn't numbered art, so I don't know where I was gonna
Can everybody hold up their picture and somebody take like a screenshot or a picture for me? I think I have both of my devices going, so I don't want to touch anything.
Is Becky taking it?
Oh, should I hold mine up too?
I'll do it and I'll post it in the chat if it lets me.
I like the purple and yellow together over there in the corner.
I like how someone cut out their snake, their floral snake. That's rad.
I love that snake so much. It was a fun one.
That was the one when I was putting together, so I put together a story sort of as we all went into isolation and quarantine. All of these amazing artists from the community started sharing coloring sheets as just a way to give people something relaxing to do and to share their art. And so when I saw Why I Love Where I Live has a collection of coloring sheets from a bunch of different artists. We have our own coloring sheets on our website. But as I was going through the Why I Love Where I Live collection, that one totally jumped out at me. It's like so detailed and pretty, like really delightful and surprising. So I love that one.
Yeah.
Anybody? Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying it was really fun to make. I have a couple different designs in the series, and each one of them, it's very like meditative, and I like get into it, and then my kids are like, "Hey, Mom, we exist," and I'm like, "What?"
But I'm almost done. Does anyone have any? We just have a few more minutes left, and I know that everyone probably has dinner to get to. Serena's got her kiddos to get to. Does anyone have any kind of parting questions that they are itching to ask before we
Ask away.
get into our goodbyes? I'm gonna put in Serena's Facebook page link into the chat so you can all find her and like her there and show her some love.
Yeah, Instagram is where I put all the fun stuff, and then I think it links over to Facebook.
I'll put your
I think
Instagram as well.
And then I have some streamable watercolor lessons too on my website, which everybody's really been enjoying. So if you want to dive into watercolor, then check that out, because I just put another one up too, and everybody's been having a lot of fun with those.
Can we find those links on your Instagram too, Serena?
You can. There, if you follow the link in my bio, then it links to like everything that I have going on. So all of my workshops, and then if I ever have like gallery exhibitions, anything, all of that is that Linktree link. It's all right in there.
So I put in Serena's Facebook link, her Instagram link, and then her Linktree link. And then we have a couple of questions about tools. So the best sharpener for colored pencils and the brand of the watercolor pencils that you're using. One more time.
Okay, so these are, I think the name is on the lid, so you can look it up. These are Color Block. They're also through the link in my bio. I think you know what? No, I don't, but I can add it to that Linktree link. I have a coupon code for them right now for 10% off, and the coupon code is Cactus Clouds. And on Instagram, they are at art.colorblock, and it's spelled COLOUR. But I'm going to add that to my link too, so you guys can find that. This is their little 24-piece watercolor. Do you guys want to see it get wet?
Yes!
I did it with the watercolor pencils. I gotta show you what it looks like when you get it wet, right? So this is like an aqua brush. They're from Pentel, and you can find them at Michael's. They're pretty great, also on Amazon, but it has water inside. So like if you do a sketch like this, then you just get the bristles wet, and then you can just paint over without getting it super sopping wet or anything. And then the colors get all blendy. It's
This
kind
is
of like a fun,
my mind is blown.
it's like a really fun way to finish off a piece. Like then you have that, I have that texture from my plastic table underneath, and then I just blend it all away. And so like I added some purple in there And so then as you get it wet, the like purple comes to life and you can really see it. So super, super fun. I'm a huge fan. I figured I had to show you guys the watercolor pencils since I'm the watercolor person.
Yes, it's beautiful. That is so cool.
Yeah, and it's cool because like with the pencils, you can layer a few colors on top of each other, but then when you get them wet, they're like, boop, and they really pop, and it's really cool. Very fun. And it adds some fun texture and stuff.
I love it. We are at the 6:30 mark. We are hearing lots of thank yous are coming through the comments. Thank you again, Serena, really just for being with us today and sharing more about your process and your journey and your creative spirit here. And also a big thank you to all of the members who joined us. We have an ongoing kind of like Slack thread at This is Tucson where we see who's become a member. Every day we see names come through, and then we see notes that people leave for us or email to us that share the reason they became a member, or what they value most about This is Tucson. And I'm gonna get emotional about it. I don't think any of my colleagues are surprised, but really, I mean, your notes and your comments and your support are really motivating for us and are keeping us going. And just to be able to hear feedback about things that you have found useful and helpful really makes us feel connected when we're all working from the This is Tucson satellite offices all across the city. So thank you so, so much for your support and for being here today. Please show Serena some love on social media. You have all of her links in the chat. And we just want to say thank you so much. We hope that you're staying safe and that you're healthy and that everyone's well. I think I'm going to unmute everybody so we can say like a proper goodbye to each other. Serena, is there anything else that you wanted to share before we say bye?
No, I don't think so. It's been a pleasure, and this feels like it was the perfect thing for me to do today, and so I am grateful that you asked. So thanks.
Yay.
Thank you so much.
Lovely.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Veronica.
Hi, Cheryl.
On there,